All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Bleacher Report came up with an article on the possibilities of a Brandon Aiyuk trade. I'm not a huge fan of moving Aiyuk, but we'll talk about those possibilities. And there's one option that I really do like, borderline love. We'll get into that coming up next. First, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle. We're also brought to you by Marin Auto Glass, marinautoglass.com on the web, 415-883-3030. And, of course, Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. Check them out in Monterey and Pacific Grove. Call Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264. All right, let's talk a little bit about Brandon Aiyuk. I don't want to trade Aiyuk. I'm like all you Niner fans. I want to keep Aiyuk. I want to keep Aiyuk because Aiyuk is the best receiver they got, and he may be the best weapon they have. And I'm not really in a rush to move him. But the reality of the 49ers situation is they're going to pay their quarterback nearly 50 times what he made this year in 2 years. And they're going to have to make, that means close to $50 million of cap, is going to have to be deleted. That means $50 million worth of players are probably going to have to leave. And that's a tough thing to do. So one thing we've seen as a trend, we've seen a lot of big names change teams via trade at wide receiver, more so than almost any other position in the NFL. We just saw Stephon Diggs dealt. Devontae Adams has been traded. Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Jerry Jeudy, Deontay Johnson. They've all moved teams. And why is that? It's because you got to pay them a lot, and there's a lot of wide receivers around. 3-4 years in a row now running, the NFL draft has been absolutely loaded with wide receivers. Are they Brandon Aiyuk? No, but they're damn good. And you look at Aiyuk, he's topped 1,000 yards receiving in each of the past 2 years, but he's heading into the option year of his rookie contract. According to Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network, the extension talks between Aiyuk and the 49ers are not close. And, I'm not sure if the Niners are gonna have the resources to pay either. People are saying, well, Debo, Aiyuk, Debo. I don't know if they can pay either of those guys. To be completely honest, I don't think the Niners can pay Aiyuk over $20 million a year. And there's a chance that, he wants to wait until Justin Jefferson signs. He may want over $30 million a year. And who knows how much guaranteed. And then if you look at the Niners, there's just so many high-priced players on offense already on the roster, and you got Purdy due for this massive raise. I don't know that you can keep Brandon Aiyuk. Now, the Niners are not going to give away Aiyuk. No question about that. If you want to trade for him, it's not going to come cheaply. According to the report, they wanted a number 1 and Zay Jones from Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville picked 17th. So they wanted the 17th pick in the draft and Zay Jones for Aiyuk. Let's go through some of these options that Bleacher Report has thrown out there, and let's see if there's any that are even palatable. Because we all know, I don't want to move them. You guys don't want to move them. Nobody really wants to move a 26-year-old player that you drafted and developed and is about to play his best football. But if trading Aiyuk is the only option to keeping the entire thing together, then trading Aiyuk is going to have to happen. So let's look at some of the options. The first one they throw out is the Cardinals get Brandon Aiyuk and the Niners' 4th round pick, number 135. The Niners get the Cardinals pick in the first round, which is 27, and their 5th round pick, number 138. So the Niners move back 3 spots basically in the middle of the draft, and they get an extra first round pick for Aiyuk. Not terrible. Okay, but once again, are you going to be able to get your tackle at 27? No. Are you going to be able to get, a great wide receiver like the kid from LSU at that point? No. So, all right, that's one option. The second one is Brandon Beane, the GM of the Bills. I think maybe have got strong-armed into trading Diggs to the Texans. I think, Diggs probably worked it and, gave him no leverage because he didn't get a whole lot. But one thing Bean said is, hey, look, we're not there yet. We're still putting together our roster. Maybe Buffalo tries to add a big time receiver to replace Diggs. And Aiyuk would be an incredible weapon for Josh Allen. The deal that Bleacher Report has is the Bills get Brandon Aiyuk, and the Niners would get the Bills' number 1 pick, which is 28, and their 4th round pick in next year's draft. All right. I mean, I don't love that either. You're getting the 28th pick in the draft for Aiyuk, and you're getting a 4th, but not till next year. It's not terrible, but then again, why do you want to give Brandon Aiyuk to a team that could potentially beat you in the Super Bowl? If I'm going to move Aiyuk, I think I want to move him to a team that's not necessarily standing in my way between myself and a Lombardi, since that's really what I'm out for. So I don't love that one for that reason. All right, let's go to the next option they have. They have the Chargers trading for Brandon Aiyuk, and giving the Chargers would get Aiyuk and the Niners 6th round pick, number 211. The Niners would get the Chargers 2nd round pick, number 37, their 4th round pick, number 110, and a conditional day 2 pick in 2025. Well, that's pretty good. That's not bad. The one thing about this one is I don't think this is viable at all. I don't think Bleacher Report thought this out from the Chargers' perspective. The Chargers have major cap problems. They part of trading for Brandon Aiyuk is the ability to then give him an extension. So I don't think I think that deal's not that bad, but there's no way the Chargers will be able to give him an extension because they're hugged up against the cap. So I just don't think that's all that viable, period, from the Chargers' perspective, cap-wise. All right, let's go on to the next one. It's the Patriots getting Brandon Aiyuk, and the Niners' 5th round pick, number 176. The Niners would get a 2nd round pick, number 34, top of the 2nd round from the Pats, and a 4th round pick, and then a 2nd round pick next year. That's not bad. That's not bad. You're sending him to a team that, there's no chance he'd ever win with because they don't have a quarterback. They don't have an offense. They're worlds away from winning again. That would almost be like sending Aiyuk to Siberia. I don't know that Aiyuk would be happy in New England there. They would love Aiyuk. It would give them a weapon that they clearly don't have. The Niners, I don't love giving the 5th round pick as well, but you're getting a 2nd and a 4th in this draft, and then a 2nd round pick next year, which could be a high pick. Could be, could be the 1st or 2nd or 3rd pick of the 2nd round. So that trade is somewhat viable. All right, so that's an interesting one. And let's go to a couple of the 2 last ones they have here. They have the Steelers trading for Brandon Aiyuk and getting the Niners' 4th round pick as well. And the Niners would get the Steelers' 1st round pick, which is number 20, and a 3rd round pick, which is number 98. Now, that's not bad. That's kind of a clean trade. I don't know if I want to give my 4th round pick and Aiyuk for that, but at 20, maybe you could get, a tackle. Maybe J.C. Latham falls to 20. Maybe Fuaga falls to 20. Maybe that tackle is there. That's intriguing because it's the 20th pick in the draft. Very intrigued by that. But the trade offer that I think is the most intriguing to me, and I'd love to hear your guys' comments in the comment section at the end of this. It's sending Aiyuk to the Commanders and Adam Peters. And the trade would be Aiyuk and the Niners' 6th round pick, number 211. And the Niners would get the Commanders' 2nd round pick, which is number 36, really high pick. They would also get the Commanders' 3rd round pick, which is also a pretty high pick, number 67. And they would get the young veteran receiver Jahan Dotson. Now, I like this trade the most of all of them. Why? Because I think you can get 2 really good players in the 2nd and 3rd round. I think this draft the sweet spot of this draft, in my opinion, is the second and third round. Once you get to the fourth and fifth, it's a little thin. But in the second and third round, you can get the same kind of player you can get from 25 down, in my opinion. I think that's the sweet spot. And Jahan Dotson was a first-round pick at a Penn State. He's a little on the small side, but you could make an argument that he has equal or better ball skills to Brandon Aiyuk right now. Now, he's small. He's had a little bit of a disappointing first couple of years. They haven't really had a quarterback or much of an offense. But Jahan Dotson has great ball skills. I mean, if you throw him the ball, he's going to catch it. So you get a receiver, a young receiver that you still have control over, who you can plug in right away, and you get 2 bites of the apple in the sweet spot of the draft. I kind of like that trade because I think there's a chance that Brock Purdy and his accuracy in this offense with all these weapons, that Jahan Dotson could put up similar numbers to whatever Aiyuk may do in Washington this year with a rookie quarterback. And you got to remember, a lot of it matters. Like, who's your quarterback? There's also, it would give Washington Terry McLaurin and Brandon Aiyuk, which would be a great combo. And Washington is building their own bully. And technically, I guess you could say you're helping them build a team that could keep you from going to the Super Bowl. I understand that. But I kind of like that trade. Jahan Dotson, a second and a third for, and that second is 36 overall. That's the fourth pick of the second round. That's like a late first almost. So you would pick 31 and then you would pick 36. And then you're coming up again at 67 and you have your own second. So you got, 4 picks inside the top 70. You'd have like 5 picks inside the top 100. That's kind of what I think the Niners need right now. Is they need, if you could, I'll say this, if you could sweeten this deal, if you could get this deal a little sweeter, where it was, since you're not getting a 1, you get, let's say, a 2, a 3 Dotson, and instead of giving a 6, you got a 6th. I'm doing that deal. I think the Niners I think Dotson could emerge as a decent receiver. He's not Aiyuk, but he's not garbage. This guy's got ball skills. He's got hands. He can run routes. It hasn't happened for him yet, but he's probably ready to bust out. If you could get that deal to be just slightly sweeter on your end, maybe you don't give your 6th, maybe you get a 6th instead. If you could add one more late round pick to that, I'm doing that. I would do that because now you've moved off your cap problem. You've added a receiver that you can start right away opposite Debo, and you have two picks in the sweetest part of the draft, in the sweet spot of the draft. I think I would do it. I think that's the deal that intrigues me the most of this. And it's because of Dotson. I believe in Dotson. I think Dotson's got a career coming. I watched that kid at Penn State. He caught everything, and in some ways you could say his ball skills are more pure than Aiyuk. And with the accuracy of a Brock Purdy, and maybe the ability with that extra pick to add a Xavier Legette. I mean, if you said to me, you got a major cap problem and you got to cut some guys, and you could pivot and move off of Aiyuk and get, let's say, Xavier Legette and Jahan Dotson and have an extra pick in the third round, that's the deal that intrigues me the most. So anyway, it's all pain, right? Because nobody wants to move Aiyuk. I don't want to move him. You guys don't want to move him. Nobody wants to see him go. But if you had to move him, and those are the deals, that Washington trade does sound intriguing. And, I would be really interested to see what Dotson's numbers looked like against Aiyuk's numbers in this Niner offense with Purdy throwing in the rock as opposed to Aiyuk and Washington's offense as the number 2 behind Terry McLaurin with, Jaden Daniels or Drake May throwing the ball. I think those numbers could look very, very similar next year, and we'll see. Anyway, just a few thoughts on the Aiyuk trade possibilities. Tell me your thoughts on these trade possibilities. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to all you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.